All right, we're now learning that the CIA officer who was arrested with gold bars stashed at his house received even more money from the agency that investigators are now trying to find. That, according to 4 people with knowledge of the investigation. And they tell NBC News that David Rush requested money or other valuables from the CIA that are now MIA. Now, remember, FBI agents found 300 gold bars, $2 million in cash, and dozens of luxury watches when they searched his Virginia home last month. He's been charged with stealing public money and has not yet entered a plea. Our sources say investigators are looking into whether Rush had any government accomplices. 2 sources add that he had a romantic relationship with a woman who later became his supervisor at the CIA. His lawyer, the CIA, and the FBI all denying our request for comment. NBC's Julia Ainsley has been all over this story from the beginning. Okay, walk us through this here about some of these new details. Where could some of this money have gone and the connections related to a previous supervisor at the CIA?
So, Tom, it's actually not unusual, though it sounds kind of wild, that the CIA, that someone in his position of the CIA would request things like gold bars or Rolex watches or something that could be used to pay people around the world who are carrying out missions on behalf of the U.S. when they wouldn't want that money to be traced back to the CIA, and they would want those people to be able to use whatever it is in whatever country they might be living in. What was unusual here is that he requested these valuables, and now they're unaccounted for. They found $40 million worth of gold bars in his home, but we understand there was much more that he requested as part of a program that he was legally able to get, but now the whereabouts are unknown. And in the meantime, investigators have learned that he had a romantic relationship with a woman who later became his supervisor. So we are not insinuating that she was in any way involved with this scheme, but it does raise questions that investigators are certainly looking into about whether or not this behavior was allowed to continue because perhaps people who should have been checking over him weren't doing their job given this relationship.
And if it's all top secret, allegedly he's using this money, the gold bars, the watches to pay off people overseas. They could easily lose track of that, right? Yeah,
I mean, there should be oversight. Congress is supposed to have oversight of that. The Office of Management and Budget should have some oversight, but it's not the same as the public money coming out of the other agencies that we might cover because this is all done so covertly.
Julia Ainsley, the story just keeps taking new and exciting twists. Thank you very much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.